What's up, family? This is not the Clifton Brandley podcast, but it might be. Should I? Let me say welcome to the Clifton Brandley podcast, just in case. I put this on the podcast. I didn't think about that. But I wanted to do this for you guys today for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm not going to lie. Let me tell you up front, I'm trying out this new super chat thing. Like, I wanted to see, because I've been having it for a while, but I've never used it, so I wanted to try it out. And so I said, I can go live Friday, and I really can teach this thing that I've been thinking about for a while. Right? I've been thinking about this betrayal mindset for a minute. And when I finished the workshop a few weeks ago, and I have some people that's in my betrayal, it's called a program, betrayal program. The more I talk to them and the more, I talk to my regular clients, the more I'm like, man, you know what? There's a certain mindset that you need in order to recover well, right? So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys today about, recovering well, right? Because recovery is not just waiting until like everything dies down. And recovery is not just because we stay together. Because there's some folk who don't divorce, who don't break up, but they also don't recover. Okay, so I want to help you recover well. Now, so some of you are struggling to recover from betrayal because you don't have the right mindset for recovery, right? And the reason I say it needs to be a mindset is because you have to be committed at a certain level so that your pain and your frustration doesn't cause you to sabotage the healing that you're trying to create, right? Because it's going to be difficult. It's not easy. There's going to be pain. There's going to be frustration. You're going to get tired of each other. You're going to get tired of, is this real or not? Are they making efforts? Are they still lying? Can I trust them? It's going to be a challenge. And so if you don't have the right mindset, you're going to suffer. And again, so the reason I call it a mindset is because a mindset is about who I become. And what I've noticed is the people that I'm seeing, a lot of them, they want to recover, but they haven't become the person that'll do the things to make recovery smooth. Right. So they're still in their, let's call it regular mindset and doing things that make sense to them. I don't think I need to do all that. Like why I got to share my location? Why do I have to, you didn't give me a list. You've given me a list of things. Why I have to do all this? So my feelings don't matter. So what I want don't matter. And all of those questions, all of those complaints are an indication you might not have the right mindset to create what you want to create. Okay. Now, I've come up with, I got eight, there's more than eight, but I broke this down to 8 things that I want you to, that your mindset, this recovery mindset that you need to have. Right. And then on one of them, well, let me just give them to you. Right. So here's the first one. If you're going to recover well, this needs to be a part of your mindset. This needs to be a part of how you operate. Okay. You need to think this way, because if you just try to do what I'm telling you, but you have not developed the mindset to be this kind of person, you're going to hurt yourself bad. And what you're going to end up doing is making things worse. Right. So the first one is safety. You got to have the mindset that safety is the number one priority. Yeah, because in the betrayal, everything else pretty much falls under the safety umbrella. Like safety and trust, that's one and the same, right? So you got to have the mindset that safety is the number one thing that we need to restore. Because if we don't restore safety, nothing else is going to really work, right? No recovery can happen when there's fear. If you just think about fear paralyzes you. Right? Fear makes you freeze, because when you're in fear, you're constantly sitting back looking and examining, right? I don't know about this. So you guys need to be working on safety, so then you guys can begin to recover. Because the opposite of safety is fear, and in fear you'll be paralyzed, right? Safety means, when I say safety, I mean emotional safety, relational safety, and like practical boundaries. So this is that part where, some people say, well, I don't want to. Well, I got to share my location, and why do I have to, turn on my read receipts? You know what? I'll tell you, it's now this is how Clifton thinks. It's weird to me. But it's weird to me in my life. This is not a therapy, what I'm about to say. It's weird to me for couples to not already be sharing locations. Like back in the 70s and the 80s, we couldn't do that. But now that we can, like I don't want my wife out in the world and I don't know where she at. That ain't about control. It's about safety. Well, now with you guys, now that the trust has been destroyed, so whether you're the man or the woman that cheated, sharing your location helps build safety with your partner. Don't think, if you're anti sharing your location and that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, maybe this is just for a season, but if you have the mindset, if you're going to have a betrayal recovery mindset, then there may be resistance, but you're going to give what you need to give in order to get back to where you need to get back to. Where is that first baseline so we can build on it? Right? This marriage or relationship is over, but we got to rebuild a new and better one. Safety has to be a part of the foundation. Okay, don't forget that. And another thing with safety, when safety is present, then we can be intimate. And I don't mean just physically, but when it's safe, I can start opening back up again. Intimacy is about sharing. Intimacy is about vulnerability. Well, when I've been cut, I'm not trying to open up. And I'm not going to open up until I feel safe again. Right? So now I'm not saying, let me make sure I say this. I'm not saying that safety building is all on the unfaithful partner. Okay? I'm not saying that. Because like both of you have a part in building safety. But as I'm talking about the mindset, you guys need to have a mindset of, hey, our goal is we got to secure the house. Like it's shaky. How y'all trying to have a party and there's an earthquake going on? Now that was a good example. Y'all know I come up with bad examples on the fly, but that was a good one. I keep saying I'm gonna write them down in my notes, and for whatever reason, I just be focused on teaching. Anyway, I'm sorry. So that's the first one. Safety first, right? Safety is like, I'm not going to say, if I said it was your number one priority, I didn't mean that, because I got some other things that actually are important also. But I'm saying, as far as your focus, safety has to be at the top. Meaning, let me say this. Safety has to be at the top, at the top versus me getting out of trouble, right? Safety versus me trying to show you it wasn't that bad. Safety over, listen, like you still bringing this up too much. When you focus on safety, you're going to do whatever it takes in order to help build safety. Now, once you establish safety, then you can actually commit to healing instead of just surviving. Right? You want to commit to healing instead of surviving. That's the second one. You got to be committed to healing. Now you may say, well, if we've been through betrayal and we decided to stay together, doesn't that say we're committed to healing? No. I used to think that as a coach. But then I realized folk who are paying me money for me to help them recover, not committed to healing. Now, it took a while to figure that out, but after a while of hitting like bumping into the proverbial wall, I had to step back and say, wait a minute now, and realize they're not committed to healing. So here's what I mean. A lot of couples, or a lot of people in couples, you're committed to getting past it, but you're not committed to healing. It's like your commitment is to coping. Coping keeps you stuck. What I mean by coping, especially like for the unfaithful part, well, not for both of you, but for the unfaithful partner, coping looks like going along to get along. I'm doing whatever you say, but it's not coming from my heart. It's coming out of fear, right? So I'm doing these things because I don't want to be in trouble anymore, right? This has nothing to do with my commitment to heal. And then on the betrayed partner side, it's like, I'm just trying to get to a place of being better. D-Day was bad, and I need to, time is going to heal. The longer the further we get away from the betrayal, then the better I'll feel. That's not true. That's not true necessarily, right? Time does not heal. Time plus work heals. But when I say committed to healing, and maybe we should talk about this word commitment, right? But I'll come back to that if I need to. But when I'm talking about being committed to healing, like I said, coping will keep you stuck in survival mode. Healing moves you towards growth. Healing requires consistent effort, right? Not just on like the issues that we are dealing with, but it also requires consistent effort on the way that I'm thinking, right? So when I'm committed to healing, I'm committed to doing the work that I need to do. I'm not committed to just passing time or reading a book. Like I give clients, read this book. And they read the book. But what I start to notice is them doing their own individual work. It's like, I don't think anything was wrong with me. This is the unfaithful part. I think I was just selfish. I just got caught up, or it was just sex. By the way, let me tell y'all this. There's no such thing as it was just sex. Why do I say that? Because sex is God's idea. Regardless of how you misuse it, it's never just sex. It don't work that way. That's like sticking your hand in water and saying you're not going to get wet. You can't do that. Okay? So you can't just have sex and it just be sex. So stop saying that. But when I'm committed to healing, right, I'm going to do the work that I need to do. I'm going to figure out why when this door opened, I didn't have enough boundaries to not walk through it, regardless of my frustration, right? And then, what was up with our connection as to why this door was even open? Committed to healing, you're getting answers. You're not just trying to get out of trouble and move forward. I understand the pain is great. I do. But if you're not committed to healing, it means you're committed to getting past it. You can hurt yourself and you don't even know it, because committed to getting past it, you'll be doing things. You'll accept lies that you don't know are lies, right? You're going to look past red flags that you should not be looking past if you're not committed to healing, right? Without being committed is what I'm trying to say. The pain of betrayal. If you're not committed to the healing, the pain of going through this process is going to derail your efforts. You're going to hurt yourself. Like you're going to make things worse than what they are. Okay. Commitment has to be, here's how you prove commitment. So commitment has to be proven through honesty and transparency, meaning that I'm committed by my level of, by how honest I'm being, how transparent I'm being. And that's the third one. Radical honesty. You got to have a mindset of radical honesty. Why do I say radical honesty? Because sometimes sharing the truth is super scary, but you have to be committed more to being honest than being right, more to being honest than I don't want you to see me as a monster. How I see you is not the main thing. I need to know that you're committed to honesty, right? Secrets and half-truths destroy safety. When you give half-truth, when you don't reveal everything, you destroy the safety. Without safety, we can't really function, right? You've heard me say this before. Like, go to the mall and try to enjoy yourself shopping, and there's an active shooter in the mall. You can't. Try to have sex. You want to be adventurous. We're going to have sex in the car. And somebody come and pull a gun on you. Y'all gonna stop. You can't. We can't do life. Not only can we not be intimate, we can't do life without safety. And when you're not honest, safety is absent. But not only honesty, transparency. Transparency is when I volunteer information. Right? You ask me questions and I give honest answers. But also, there's some things that I know you want to know. Not only want to know, you need to know. Now, maybe you don't know if they need to know. Let's assume you do. There's some things that I know that you need to know. But fear says, I'm going to wait till they ask me. Or fear says, man, if they ask me that, I'm going to have to lie. No, transparency says, let me volunteer this information. That helps build trust / safety, right? Even if it hurts. When you're honest, it creates stability over time, okay? Trust can only grow where transparency is practiced every day. Now, how do you practice transparency every day? That doesn't mean that you share everything every day, because like you're going to run out of stuff to share. But what it does mean, you have a daily mindset of being transparent. So when new information comes in or you remember something, you volunteer it, right? Because like I don't understand how people love each other or say they love each other, but then you're not willing to do, yes, I'm going to say it, whatever it takes to rebuild what you destroyed. Like, when you see that, I think you probably saw my other video, that's a red flag. That's a heart issue. You got to be, so here's the thing about relationships. Nobody told us this in high school, but you got to be good at recognizing someone's heart more than you recognize their behavior. Let me tell you what I mean. There's some things, some ways that I act, that's not really coming from my heart, right? That really was a one-off. But what is in my heart is who I consistently am, good or bad. So don't ignore heart issues, because those heart issues that like you can't just change heart issues by saying, oh, I see that, and then change. No, it takes work because it didn't get in there that way, right? So here's the thing. Honesty builds trust, but trust can't be rushed, right? And then that's why number 4, you have to have the practice of patience, right? You got to have a patient mindset. That's number 4. Patient. Now, you got to be patient with your partner. You got to be patient with yourself, and you got to be patient with the process. Okay? Recovery is not linear. Right? It's not linear. You can expect ups and downs. It's going so recovery is like this. You'll be going, and let's say you're like a month or so away from D-Day. It's been a while now, right? And y'all hanging out, and it's going great. As a matter of fact, it's going amazing. And then y'all out to dinner. And the waiter comes up, and he has this little button that says something, and it triggers you. And from that moment, now this amazing time that we were having feels like World War III, or we're about to start World War III, right? It's like, what happened? How did things change like that? That's going to happen. And if you don't have a mindset of patience, a patient mindset, eventually that's going to get on your nerves and make you want to quit. Because it's nerve wracking. Who wants to, I call it the emotional roller coaster. Who wants to be on that? Nobody. But I can tell you this, your partner is not on the emotional roller coaster or putting you on it because they can. They themselves are stuck. You got to be patient. You got to be patient enough to help rebuild what you destroyed. Okay? Impatience, when you're impatient, it leads to pressure. Your partner starts to feel like you're putting pressure on them, right? You don't have to say the words, but when you send the message that, hold on, I need to check something real quick. Okay, good. When you say the words, you need to make sure, I don't know what I was saying. I had to make sure my sound was on though, because I didn't want to do this whole video, because I've done that before, and make sure my sound was on, but then that threw me off. So I forgot what I was saying. So let me get back to my notes and my point. Okay. Patience So I was saying patience leads to pressure. So when you're not patient, you may not say the words. There we go. You may not say the words. You taking too long to heal. You may not say the words. Why don't you hurry up? But your actions and the way you're handling them is saying, hey, you're taking too long. You're going to delay the process. It's long enough. However long it is, pain is long enough. Like how long is too long for pain? That's too long, depending on the level of pain. But you prolong it when you're not patient. You're trying to hurry them along. Don't do that. Okay. Patience honors the reality of the trauma, right? Because with betrayal, there's trauma there, and patience honors that. This is important because your wounds need time to heal. Remember, I say time doesn't heal wounds all by itself, but it does need time. Okay? Patience is only possible when you have a mindset of humility. That's the next one. Number 5 is humility. Now, you've been watching me a while. I know you knew I was going to say something about humility. Because humility is like the master key, right? It's like the skeleton key. Humility unlocks so many doors. So without humility, a healthy relationship is impossible, betrayal or not. Okay, because so the opposite of humility is pride. Pride keeps you defensive. Humility opens you up, right? Humility allows you to take ownership of the mistakes that you've made. But not only that, humility also helps you take ownership of your brokenness. You can look in the mirror and say, you know what? I did that. Not only did I do that, I could see how I've been this way for a while, and I need to change that. Pride says, I know I did this, but I was miserable. I know I did that, but she wouldn't talk to me. I know I did that, but he ignored me. And these are valid pains. But pride will make you think this is the right choice when it's not, because remember, pride dresses itself up to look like righteousness. So when you're walking in humility, humility says, maybe I don't know everything. Humility says, I feel this. I'm upset because they're bringing up stuff that's not connected to the betrayal. I'm the unfaithful partner, right? I'm upset because they're bringing up things that's not even connected to the betrayal. However, in my humility, I understand their world is upside down. So let me push that, what I'm thinking, to the side so that I could tend to them. Now, guess when you can't do that? When you are not well. So remember earlier when I was saying that's why you got to do your healing work, because like these things are tied together. You're not going to have this kind of mindset if you can't do the thing because it's too painful. You're not going to want to develop that mindset. Pride is at the root of 100% of divorces. Every single one. Pride. Pride is about me, my needs, my wants, my hurts, my desires. You cannot walk in love and pride at the same time. You're going to do one or the other. Okay? So if you're going to walk in love, you need humility. You need a mindset of humility. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself walking in pride. And so watch this. For the betrayed partner, you need humility too, because here's how pride can blind you. Now, this won't be comfortable. Okay. If you're the betrayed partner, pride can make you ignore things you need to be paying attention to. Because pride says, when I'm prideful, I'm thinking about me and I'm thinking about what I want more than maybe what I need. And so because I want you, because my love for you is not really love, it's attachment, pride will make me then ignore the things that's going to hurt me because I believe your words more than your actions. And the danger of pride is that you don't know you're walking in it until destruction shows up. Listen, I can't tell you how long I've been teaching on pride, but also since I've been teaching on pride for years, I can't tell you how many times I have found myself still walking in pride. And when I realize, I'm like, oh my goodness, how did I get here? Because I'm always, y'all ain't hearing me, I'm always looking in the mirror. I'm always self-examining. And here I am walking in pride. And when I notice it, it's after, I can see the carnage. Dang on it. And it frustrates me. But then it only frustrates me a while. So maybe this will help you, because I realize I'm but a human being. And I have to stand on God's grace. Right? So don't beat yourself up, but you do want to work on your pride issue. Okay. Now, one main reason for having a mindset of humility is that it opens the door for empathy. That's number 6. Mindset of empathy. Empathy is important because without empathy, you guys are going to hurt each other so much, because you can't so let me tell you what empathy is first. Empathy is when you can put yourself in your partner's shoes, and if not feel what they feel, understand at a deep level what they feel. Right? So you cheat on your wife. Empathy is not just that I cheated on her, but because you know her, you know what her struggles are, you know what her triggers are, like before this and all that kind of stuff. You think about how crushed she is, not how crushed you are. Think about, oh man, I know this is so blah, 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 and this is hard for her. And you interact with her from that place, right? Without empathy, you're going to say they're overreacting. Without empathy, you're going to say, hey, you taking too long to grow. You're taking too long to heal. Without empathy, you're less likely to believe, because listen, sometimes you do have to believe things that seem almost unbelievable. You're not going to be able to do that at all without empathy. Not possible. I've heard some stories, and when I first heard them, I said, they lying. And I'm thinking in my head, you need to run, right? I don't say it to them. You need to run. But then as we start doing work and like I get a deeper understanding, then I can have compassion. Then empathy comes in. I'm like, oh man, they're suffering. So I see this bad behavior, and I'm not excusing the bad behavior, but I can see where it's coming from. And so my empathy goes there, and I have compassion. Empathy doesn't excuse the bad behavior, not even at all. But it does help you understand. Empathy acknowledges the other person's pain as real. Like, and I tell people sometimes, the betrayal by itself hurts. Don't make it worse by what you tell yourself. Like, you're making up stuff. Like, for example, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were saying how you cheated, but then we only been married like 3 years. We 3 years in and you cheated. And then, we got this small town. You cheated with somebody in our town. And, what I was trying to tell them, the betrayal is bad enough, but the way you're framing it in your mind, that's what's making you hurt worse, right? Because the fact that they cheated in y'all small town, that's an issue for you. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. My point is, when you look at it that way, you're going to see them more ugly. When you think of it as, we've been married 3 years, you couldn't wait to year 10, that's your framework. I promise you, they wasn't thinking, oh, it's 3 years, well, let me go on cheat then. No, nobody thinks that way. So, but with you thinking, they ain't even wait 3 years, you're piling on things to hurt you. Okay? So what I'm saying is, don't do that, because you're going to make it harder for you yourself to get over, and you're not going to be able to have empathy because you're just not. Empathy says, I see you, right? Empathy is the attitude you need to create safety. Without empathy, communication feels cold and dismissive. Right. And listen, so now this is something I can speak to in my own relationship. There are times when I've talked to my wife and I'm not using empathy. But I don't know that I'm talking to her the way that I'm talking to her. And then she comes back and tell me how rude I was or how mean I was. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. Prideful. No, I wasn't. I wasn't doing that. Why? Because I'm responding to not what she said. I'm responding to my intent. I know what I intended. I don't know what you heard, but I know what I intended. So I'm not mean. Completely not hearing what she's saying. And my point is, when you don't have empathy, Communication is going to feel cold and dismissive. What you don't want is to dismiss your partner's feelings, right? But even with empathy, when empathy is strong, couples still need a reason to keep going, right? And how do we when we're going well, and then we hit one of those dips? How do we come out of that, right? How do we keep doing that? And then how do we keep doing that and keep going? Number 7, hope. But this mindset of hope has to be anchored, rooted in Christ. Why did I pause? Because I was going to say God. But I'm separating folk now. Because my work is hard when y'all ain't committed to Christ. Because what I learned is some of y'all who some of you call God, I don't know who that brother is. Like, well, where'd you get that from? And I'm not saying you can't believe what you want to believe, but if you're going to work with me, like, we need to believe the same thing about the same God, because I'm going to direct you that way. And if I can't, you wasting your money. So hope anchored in Christ is what you need. To have this mindset, right? People are flawed. God is the only unshakable anchor, right? I talked a few weeks ago about this hope and about the hope that Abraham had, right? Hope is the expectation of something good. That's what hope is. But hope in God is, I'm hoping that God is going to turn this around. So it's not just hoping in something good. It's not just, expectation of something good. It's expectation in God working something out for me, right? Hope in God prevents despair when your partner falters. When your partner starts to miss the mark. Hope in God. I got to keep saying that part. Because again, if you try to have hope in your partner, they're going to let you down and then your hope going to die. So it depends on, it matters where you plant your hope. Now, let me say this. That's 7. Let me give you this. This is like 7A, because I didn't want to add this is not number 8. This 7A kind of goes with the hope piece, because I added it late. This hope mindset, it needs to be fueled by, I said it that way, it needs to be fueled by the fear of the Lord. Let me tell you what that means. Because when I remember I was saying earlier how safe this, it's important, but it's not the most important thing. This one is. I'm gonna tell you why. So first of all, let me tell you what the fear of the Lord is. So the Bible says that the fear of man will prove to be a snare, right? What is it talking about? So the fear of man is the biblical term for the psychological term codependence, or the layman's term people pleasing. Or another way to say it, the fear of man is rooted in fear. It is when I care more about what people think than what God thinks. Fear of man. I give reverence to, and I'm more concerned with what people think than what God thinks. The fear of the Lord is the opposite. The fear of the Lord is when I care more about, I reverence, I am more committed to what God says and thinks more than anybody else. That's important, because as you're going through this betrayal, if you don't have the fear of the Lord, like if God is not the one that is your supreme, like you're shooting for that, you're gonna hurt yourself so bad. Because let me tell you why. When I serve my wife, but I'm not doing it for God, there is some conditions built into what I'm doing that I don't know about. And I don't really know they're there until they don't get met. If she don't say thank you, if she don't respond in a way that I would like, right? Because it changes from time to time, because we're human beings, right? But the fear of the Lord, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to reveal this. But because I care more about what God thinks than what she thinks, let me tell it. If I tell this, she leaving for sure. But I care more about what God thinks about me than her. If I tell him that the guy I slept with is from his fraternity, he ain't gonna never. But the fear of the Lord says, I trust God more than I trust anything else. I want this relationship. I want this marriage. But understand what I've done. Lord, I'm going to do what it takes to fix it. But ultimately, it's on you. Because when your eyes is on your partner and you're really looking to them to heal and change and fix you, you're going to get a wave of disappointment probably every day, at least for a season. But the fear of the Lord, when I have hope and I'm walking in the fear of the Lord, this is one of the major things. Thank you. This is one of the major things. When I'm operating in the fear of the Lord, what I don't need is, keyword need, your validation. Even if I'm the one that cheated, if I'm walking in the fear of the Lord, I can forgive myself. Let's throw that in. But I don't have to be overly concerned with you not validating that I'm not a monster or that I'm a good person or that, when I'm not walking in the fear of the Lord, you notice some of y'all's fights. It's about that. It's about, well, I wasn't that bad, or, well, I ain't mean to do that. All the defensiveness. The fear of the Lord will help you with defensiveness also, right? Maybe I need to talk more about the fear of the Lord. Not here because it's not in my notes, and if I go off on a rabbit, it will be 5 hours. Y'all know how I do. But I think I may want to come back and talk about that at another time. Let me pause here and say, because I don't know how this thing works. So just in case you're on here and you're watching, if you want to ask me questions, you'll be able to ask questions. At the end, I'm gonna do the super chat thing. So you send me a super chat, and I'll answer the question. Why? Because I'm practicing. That's all I got. It ain't because I got a million folk and I need to. But eventually, speak those things that are not as though they. So here's the next one. Hope coupled with the fear of the Lord allows you to keep moving forward, even through painful reminders, right? And then moving through painful reminders, that's where resilience comes in. That's number 8, right? You need a resilient mindset. Why? For triggers. Don't get it twisted. Triggers are real. They're normal. So triggers are normal, but it's not a sign of failure. You got to be resilient. So you got to make up your mind up front. Okay, I know triggers are coming. I'm going to be resilient when they show up and not allow it to derail me. Okay, so resilience means learning to respond, not to react. Right? Learn to respond, not to react. When your partner is triggered, don't think, oh man, see, we ain't gonna never stop. We ain't gonna never get past this. They're not gonna ever heal. She's not gonna ever stop blaming me for this. He's not gonna ever stop saying that. Yeah, you got to be resilient, because remember, I said it's gonna take a while. Yeah, you gotta be resilient enough to not fold under pressure, because it's gonna be a lot of pressure. A lot. If it was easy, more folk would be surviving, but people want to save their relationship, but they honestly don't know the amount of work that it's going to take to get this relationship from below ground back to just ground level. Most people don't know, right? So now, here's number 9, the last one. With this mindset, you got to be committed. You got to be committed. You must be committed to forgiveness. Yeah. Got to be committed to forgiveness. Why? Because forgiveness is the only way to get back to love. Think about it. In any area, not just betrayal. If you do something wrong to me, the only way for me to get reconnected with you is I got to forgive that. Whether I say something to you or not, I have to forgive it. Because otherwise, if I don't forgive it, but we still try to interact, it'll be like a wall between us, like this, like we can't connect because there's a wall between. Call unforgiveness. Now, why did I say you got to be committed to forgiveness? Because a lot of folks say, "Oh, I'm committed to forgiveness," but then when you don't understand forgiveness and you think forgiveness is for them, betrayed partner, you think it's for the unfaithful partner. Then you're like, I don't know if I want to forgive them. So to be committed to the idea of forgiveness, then you got to understand what forgiveness is. So forgiveness is giving up your right for revenge. That's the simplest way to put it. Giving up your right for revenge. When you forgive, you're saying, I'm not going to pay them back. I'm going to let God handle it. And whatever God decides to do is what he decides to do. If he decides to bless them, so be it. If he decides to curse them, so be it. Not my business. But forgiveness means I'm letting go of the responsibility of carrying this emotional weight of anger. So forgiveness is not just for them. It's for you also. As a matter of fact, it's primarily for you so that you can function. Because some of you may have some people from your past that you hadn't forgiven. Something happened in your childhood. You haven't forgiven. They're dead and gone. They molested you. You carrying all the junk. They got saved, in the last 10 years. They died, gone to heaven. They with Christ. You still carrying the pain. You need to let that go. It's no different in the betrayal when your partner's still here. You're still the one that's carrying it. Side note, if your mindset is, I want to punish them or I want to hurt them like they hurt me, listen, you need to check yourself into the relational hospital. Like you're let me just say it plain instead of trying to be all fancy. You're gonna hurt yourself really bad if you do that, because when you excuse me, when you operate that way, the outcome can only be negative. The outcome can only be bad. Hold on, let me scroll back up. Let me show you something. One of the things I said about forgiveness, okay? Okay, because I skipped over this point. Forgiveness. So forgiveness is when you cancel their debt, right? So yes, your partner does owe you. They do owe you, but you collecting on that debt by trying to punish them and make them pay for what they did. I need you to hurt the way I hurt. That's a hard that's a hard issue, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you do that, you're gonna hurt yourself really bad. Well, let me say that differently. Actually, if you're thinking that way, you're already hurt. You need to heal that. I don't know how to make it. I don't know how to make it like, bam, right in your face, so you know how serious it is. It's hard, ain't it? But that is a serious thing. That is a serious heart issue when you want to punish people because they hurt you, right? I can tell you that's probably not something that your partner put in you. Probably showed up with that. You want to heal that. It's unhealthy, period. And you're going to hurt yourself. Okay? All right. So those are the 8. When we develop this kind of mindset, then you will be able to recover well. That's what I call it recovering well, right? You don't want to just let time pass. I have so many people, discovery was a year ago, 2 years ago, and now they're coming to me. It's literally like we're starting like D-Day was yesterday. Because, guys, y'all, let me not say you can't. That might be presumptuous. I don't think it is, but it's going to be extremely difficult navigating these betrayal waters by yourself. Now, watch this. I am not saying that because I want y'all to come to me. Because at this point, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, dealing with betrayal couples it's not encouraging. It would be encouraging if I work with couples who are truly committed to healing and committed to the things of God. Right? That's easiest for me. But even if you were just committed to healing, I can help you with the things of God. But I be getting folk who think they're committed, but they don't have this mindset. And so, like, working with them is like pulling teeth. And because, like, I want to help folk have healthy marriages, that's frustrating to me. So I said all that to say, don't think I'm saying you need help because I want you to come to me. I mean, I do. Like, I got a job and God has gifted me to do this. But my point is, if you don't get help with me, you got to get it somewhere. Don't just try to do this on your own. Don't do it. You're going to hurt yourself. Okay? All right. Now, so let's try the super chat thing. We're going to try to do some questions. I don't know how it works, but I can see you guys' comments. Like, I see 2 comments from, I'm going to put them over here. I see 2 comments from YouTube, by Markeisha and Beauty of Love. I appreciate y'all. Is it possible that the woman? Okay, so I'm not gonna answer. Give me a super chat. It's only because I'm practicing, guys. I just want to see how this thing works. And I may have done something wrong. Y'all might. I don't even know if y'all see. I'm not on YouTube. I don't even know if y'all see the super chat thingy. I may be asked for something y'all can't even do. Where's my YouTube at? Where's my mouse at? Let me see. I'm gonna answer your question anyway, Beauty. It says, is it possible that the woman can start threatening the man? Yes. That's all I got. Yeah, it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know what you mean. I'm just answering your question. I have no idea what you mean by the question. Recording. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Demanding, that's prideful. Be careful, right? Just because you have a pride issue don't mean you're a bad person, but you do want to check on it. You don't want to just leave it out there, just hanging. And I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to stay on here waiting for super chats. So we'll have to build up to that stage because I ain't finna do that. So if y'all have questions, y'all can ask. But if not, I'm gonna let y'all make it, and we'll make it like this. Thank you, Nathan. Right? But yeah, so I hope this was helpful for you, though. My goal is to be a light, a beacon, right? As you guys navigate these troubled waters, I want to help be a light to guide you in the right direction, right? I don't know everything, but there are some things that I do know. And if I don't know nothing else, I do know your healing, your recovery won't be near about what it can be without Christ. Especially if you're married, because marriage is God's idea. Now, the folk who y'all been dealing with infidelity, and y'all not married, I'm thinking about how to address you guys while also not offending everybody, because I know some folk gonna be offended. But I'm trying to figure out how to address you guys sternly, but respectfully, because like some of y'all running through red flags like they're green, and you are going to hurt yourself like bad. So I'm working on that. Let's see. Nathan says, let's get this question. Oh, see, let me show y'all what, if I had super chats, I could do this. Watch this. Ooh, that's live. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I like technology. Oh, you can't hardly even see it though, huh? Let's see. How do you, let me read over here. How do you work out differences when someone hurts you and you guys different viewpoints? Your question is too vague. How do you work out differences when someone hurts you and you have different viewpoints? Like, I could spend the next hour answering that question because it's too vague. You know what I'm saying? But let me try. How do you work out differences when someone hurts you and you have different viewpoints on what? If your viewpoint is different on how you hurt me, or like I determine how I'm hurt, you can't say. If I say, hey, that's disrespectful, you can't tell me it's not. So I'm not sure what the different viewpoints would be, but I need to know what your viewpoint is as to why you don't think I should be hurt, or why you don't think, you like why do you have why does your viewpoint matter on my pain? That's what I would be asking. All right. So how'd it go away? Oh, there we go. Anybody else want to get their question on the screen? On the screen right quick. I didn't see you. Thank you, Miss Lenore. Your comment was the first one. So, no Facebook people. All right, cool. All right, listen, I'm gonna go. But, like I said, I wanted to try the super chat thing. But if you have a question, if you see this lady, you have a question. I'll put. No, I ain't doing that. Go to my website and email me, and I'll reply. But make sure your question is not like vague. Let me say I'll try to reply, because if I get a plethora, an influx of messages, I'm only but one person. So, but I'll try to answer you. All right, I'll try to answer you. Okay. All right. You guys take care, and I will see y'all. I don't know when I'll see y'all. I'm going to do something soon, though. I don't know if it's going to be betrayal. So for y'all, I don't know, for the betrayal folk. But anyway, y'all take care.